Well, hey everybody, this is Chris DeFirio with Keys to the Shop, and welcome to another edition of Shift Break. Today's episode is brought to you by La Marzocco. They've been making espresso machines by hand in Florence since 1927. I think that you probably have heard of La Marzocco. Of course, they are kind of like a cornerstone espresso machine in the coffee industry. Some of the best coffee bars in the world have La Marzoccos, and the new coffee shops that are just springing up have purchased La Marzoccos because they want to have a dependable, beautiful, and innovative espresso machine at the heart of their espresso bar. Now, La Marzocco makes machines like the KB90 espresso machine. They innovated the straight-in locking portafilter technology that helps with ergonomics. They have the Linea PB with a classic Linea profile, and then all the technology that allows the barista ultimate control over the extraction, and that's my personal favorite of mine. I've worked on that machine for many years. They even have lever espresso machines and everywhere in between. So go to LaMarzoccoUSA.com. If you're looking to open a coffee bar for the first time or just upgrade your equipment or expand your business, La Marzocco is a great partner to have in keeping your espresso dialed, consistent, and keeping your cafes looking beautiful. It gives you peace of mind as well. Better than going to LaMarzoccoUSA.com, which you totally should, email info@LaMarzoccoUSA.com, and they will help you find the right machine for your cafe. Again, if you're looking for a great espresso machine to start out or to expand with, LaMarzoccoUSA.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by the wonderful folks over at Rattleware. Now, I'm so excited to welcome Rattleware as a sponsor because I know this brand and I've used Rattleware equipment throughout my career. I love Laura and the folks there at Rattleware because their mission is to just promote functional design, to make things better, make tools that make the process and the result of coffee better. And they do this by providing a vast array of smallwares and other tools for specialty cafes, things that will actually last and that you can actually count on in the real day-to-day work of the coffee bar. It's just the right tools for a well-run cafe. They're durable, commercial grade, and they get the job done. If you're looking for smallwares and other tools for your specialty coffee shop, then check out Rattleware at rattleware.com. Okay, everyone. Well, today I wanted to talk to you about trends that you can ignore. And I'm not going to come out and say that everything that you see out there that has a shine to it, that you see on a trade show floor or in an advertisement is something that you should stay away from. Some of these things actually are appropriate for your coffee bar, but how do you know that they're appropriate? And maybe how do you filter these offers without having too much FOMO when it comes to, well, this is a trend in the industry. We should do this. We should do that. And one of the things I really hate is when I see people who are well-meaning, okay, they're well-meaning, they're presenting a best case for their product, and they say, well, trends show that consumers want or that they are purchasing X, Y, and Z, and because of that increase in the consumer purchasing that, I think the implication is if you provide it in your coffee shop, you will get more customers, and your customers are actually secretly wanting you to have this bubble tea or energy drink or blended beverage menu or flights or anything you can think of that comes out of the coffee industry as unique menu item, the uniqueness of which is sold as the silver bullet for your cafe. And what's better than one silver bullet than a dozen silver bullets? Okay, so now we've got 7 kinds of matcha, 5 different kinds of flights. We've got bubble tea and blended drinks. We've got Red Bull energy drinks. We've got, all of these brightly colored fluorescent things that make our Instagram look good, but turn our coffee shops into soda shops, dispensaries of liquids. And the truth is, I hate to see shelves start to consume dreams. If we think about it as I, out of my desperation to make something work, have agreed to put on the menu such a vast array of inventory that I don't even know who we are anymore. What is our goal here? Is our goal simply to set up shop and serve as much liquid as can possibly make us money? Was that really why you wanted to set up a coffee shop? But have you evolved to that point? Have you kind of slowly simmered yourself like the story of the frog who gets slowly boiled as the heat is raised a little bit, and you find out, well, how did I get here? And I look at coffee shops sometimes that have these large and vast cluttered menus with not just like an overwhelming number of options, but like just an unmanageable number of options. And you say, well, the number one thing that our baristas have stress with is with options, with the recipe, remembering recipes and that kind of stuff. This is actually one of the main reasons why Starbucks baristas burn out is the customizability of the menu. We heard in an episode where we interviewed someone from Scooters who talked about how they keep the menu simple simply because of that very fact that it gets overwhelming to have all these options. And if a giant chain like this is thinking about simplicity as a marketing advantage, certainly we as independent coffee shops should be thinking about how we can simply focus on a simple array of things that we do very well and stay true to who we are and not be led by the nose, or rather by our insecurities, by marketing companies who know how to tug on their heartstrings and get their quotas. When you go to a trade show and you talk to somebody at a booth who's selling a syrup, who's selling an ingredient, selling anything, you have to have your filter hat on, okay? Don't be a French press. Be a V60, right? Put that filter, better yet, be a Chemex, the thickest filter around, and allow what comes out of that to be more clear. If you walk away and you're like a French press and your mind just allows all of these like ideas to just simmer through, then when you leave, you're going to end up with a lot of sediment. You're going to end up with just muddied water. Okay. Now, to leave that analogy, because I don't think we can torture it anymore, the idea here is you can't allow yourself the luxury of feeling super jazzed about trends. And the reason why I say that is you have a responsibility to have a sober-minded approach to things that will have long-term implications on who you are and who people think you are, because that has long-term implications on your profitability and the success of your business. People who have gotten to this point, and they always think about downsizing and simplicity, feel like there's no way out. Maybe I have to open a different business because now we're just a clearinghouse of everybody else's great ideas for what we should do to be successful. And ultimately, it's not their responsibility to think for you. But if we offer them our minds like some kind of a rentable space, like a mental Airbnb, then you're going to walk around and you're not really going to have a sense of yourself. There's a reason why, you could go to Airbnb and it's like, I know this was a house, or it even is a house. And then there are Airbnbs that have kind of, or for lack of a better way of describing it, it's like they're hydroponically grown. They were just like grown for the purpose of being an Airbnb to have the look of a house. But we know that there is no history there. It just kind of was built as a hotel. And it feels like there's this uncanny valley feel to it. There's a live, laugh, love sign every 5 steps. And it just is like, okay, yes, this is not actually a house, but it is, but it's not. All right. So has your coffee shop got an identity? Does it extend past the brand colors and the logo? Do you know who you are going into these conversations? Don't allow somebody to expertly convince you that you need this thing because it's a trend unless you know who you are and who your customers are and what they really want. You could say no. You don't have to have energy drinks. You don't have to have 1,000 different kinds of syrups or 7 different sizes and flights. You see these things and we think that's the answer because what we're doing right now is not working as well as you want. And so what's the answer? More variety is always somehow the answer. But that's just as false as when you constantly say, well, the only way to make our bar faster is to add more baristas. Anyone who's done any work with workflow will tell you that that's not necessarily the case. It always seems to be the answer, but you've been to these bars with like 6 people behind the bar and we're just not making drinks that fast and everyone's still stressed out. It's about less and better, not more and let's just cross our fingers. So to bring it back around to the title, Trends That You Can Ignore, you can ignore certain things or you can say no to certain things based on the fact that you know who you are. And ultimately, you are the one who gets to say, this is totally us. And if you don't know what that is, that's the first step. You can't just outsource your identity to marketers because then you're going to be down the road. You're not even going to be able to identify how to fix what you've built, because ultimately it will not have been you that built it. So I hope that today's episode on Shift Break was helpful and gave you something to think about. Let me know what you're thinking about this. I hope it's useful. And as always, I hope that this episode has truly given you keys to the shop.